Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure news video. Of course, covering the last 2 weeks of Dragon Ball figure news. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize that this week's video is a little late. Usually hey, this video is going up a little late this week is usually on Tuesday, and it's kind of become a regular, to be honest, but this video is going up on Wednesday just because, unfortunately, I have been a little bit busy the last couple of days, but hope you guys have been having a good one. Obviously, go check out the last figure news video if you did miss that one for obviously a little bit more context on some of the things that we'll talk about today. And not to mention, yes, I know I did do that live stream, seems like 10 days ago. It feels like not that long ago, to be honest with you, where I opened up all these figures. It was a great time. Thank you for those of you who came through. Definitely keep an eye out in the future because I will be doing more of these unboxing streams. But I will be turning these into videos very, very soon. I know technically there should have been one that's gone up already, but, you know, always a busy bee, your boy is. So let's go ahead and get into things here. Obviously, we already talked about the new high-grade Goku figures in the last video, so we're starting off on April 2nd because that's when this video went up. Obviously, we did go over these in the last video as well, talking about the Gashapon Dragon Ball item series number 4. And actually, something related to number 3 we'll get to see in this video, so look forward to that. But yeah, I assume that we will actually get this here in the West because of something that we'll cover later in this video, so stick around for that. That was the reason why I wanted to bring that up. I did see this floating around. This is really, really interesting. So, a Dragon Ball pouch collection. This is a new product being released in the shape of the Saiyan Pod. There are 4 versions, including Goku, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz. I assume it's like a coin pouch with a zipper on top, although they don't show it in use. It's only in Japan for now. Yeah, so the interesting thing about these is that, like, this is how they show it on the, like, promo images, but I don't really understand how this works. I wanted to show these because maybe somebody in the chat could kind of figure it out, and I know I think it was on Twitter that I saw somebody talking about this, where, like, you know, it shows the front, the back, and the side. So, like, it looks like that obviously it's just kind of plastered on a white pouch, right, and that's the back. So I assume it's like when you open it up on the inside of the coin pouch, it'll kind of look like this, but that also looks like clear plastic, unless it's just made like that, because I would think it would be like a clear plastic pouch that's seeing the inside of the bag. But when I guess that's just displaying the art. But when I look at it like this, it kind of doesn't look like that. I guess maybe it does. I guess, yeah, that must be how it works for it to be able to have that effect. And then it has like this little thing on the inside. But if you are interested in this, I'm sure that we will see if this will end up coming stateside. But I just thought it was interesting to mention because it's a very weird little item. But it just goes to show you how much Dragon Ball merch we really get, man. We just get everything nowadays. It's crazy. We really are spoiled being in the modern era when it comes to Dragon Ball. Alright, so moving on from that, we did have the Jump Calendar figure release for April, right? Which obviously was UI Goku. I do have a couple of pictures of him actually in this video, so definitely look forward to that. As well, Jace, Ginyu, and Majin Vegeta are also coming out this month, along with the stinky guy right here, the Arise Dodoria. But these guys are all coming out this month. I believe Vegeta is either coming out soon or he's already released, because I know we have at least a picture of him, and Ginyu has not come out yet because there are no pictures of him. I know that Jace also is in the same spot as Majin Vegeta, and this Ichiban Kuji release in Japan, I actually have a bunch of pictures for you, and a very interesting development about future Gohan as well, by the way. Also, obviously, the Gashapon series that we just talked about is also releasing. For the Dragon Ball Weekly news for the 8th, the only thing that they really talked about was just that the MUI Goku was coming out in Japan. This is pretty interesting. So, we did see some of these, I believe, in a previous video, if I'm not mistaken. But the Big Bad Toy Store has just released 4 new Dragon Stars action figure battle packs for pre-order with an availability of the second quarter of 2024. I apologize if you can hear the birds chirping, by the way. The sun is beginning to rise as we speak. But we have a bunch of different packs of these Dragon Stars figures here, which is pretty cool. I do know that some of these are already released, and I don't think that these are a variation to my knowledge. And the only reason why I say that is because I've seen a couple of these like in the actual store before, or I've seen like Goku versus Frieza, unless this is different from the one that has already been around for a while. But I'm thinking that these ones are re-release, because I know that this is brand new, the Bardock versus Frieza pack. Ironically enough, obviously, right, if we're talking just action figures and purely like a toy, right, this is definitely a good choice for a kid, right? Like, I wouldn't give a kid an SH Figuarts unless they understood that it was a collectible and not a toy to play with, right? I would definitely rather give my kid something like this, because I think that it would just be not only like, you know, obviously not a big deal if it ended up getting broken, but obviously, again, it's more made to sort of be a toy rather than be like a collectible, even though people do collect them, and that is fine, of course. But I do think that these are really good for the price, right? I mean, I don't know, if I was a little kid and my, you know, mom or dad handed me these and was like, hey, here's Bardock and Frieza, you know, go crazy, and I just finished watching the Bardock special for the first time, I know I would be having a blast. And all of these packs are only $46.99, which is actually pretty good, because obviously that's like about 25 bucks a figure. I guess that's probably more like, what, 22.5, something like that, right? My mental math is not that good, to be honest with you, but obviously usually Dragon Stars figures are like 20 to 25 bucks a pop, so I think that that is honestly a very good price for a 2-pack. Not to mention you are getting effects and stuff, and this one is actually the reason why I'm pretty sure that this is a re-release for some of these, because I know for a fact that I've seen this Janemba with the screaming mouth and the Gogeta with the like Stardust Breaker effect in the store before, because I actually have the Janemba with the standard expression. I think that that one looks a little bit better in my opinion, but again, just for a toy, I mean, like, it doesn't really matter. As well, the final pack was Broly and Goku, which I know for a fact has been released for a while, because I have seen the art for this, like, literally in the store on the pack, like on the back of the box. Low-key, though, I mean, if you need a Broly figure, this might actually not be that bad of a choice, only because of the fact that the SH Figuarts Broly is so gosh darn expensive nowadays. Speaking of that Bardock, though, talking about that this one is the newest one, I did want to show you. I know I have it queued up somewhere here, but I may as well just grab it and, you know, actually, like, put it in front of your face, because we're obviously talking about it right now. The boy Fenyo has come back to us once again with more fire art from this, right? We do have the 4K images, obviously, of these guys, which is kind of what we just took a look at, but obviously these a little bit more high quality. And obviously, besides the nice looking images of these figures, again, man, they do come with a lot of effects. I will say, like, for again, like the $50 price point, I feel like, you know, you are getting honestly a pretty decent amount of stuff in the actual packaging. This is what I wanted to show you. Look at the art for this bad boy right here. Dude, Fenyo is absolutely cooking. This is always some of the coolest stuff about seeing these Dragon Stars figures, is that either they use the stinky promo artist for this, or they use Fenyo, and whenever Fenyo does the art for these, they always cook. So you can see too that the art on the front of the box, right, is obviously the same as the art that's on the side, because you can see that's the same Bardock render, and when they tilt the box you can see that that's the same Frieza render, but obviously he does original art for the back of the box, and these always look super cool. So yeah, it's always nice to see with these Dragon Stars figures some awesome Fenyo art. Low-key, I almost want to buy these just to like display the box, right, like, and just have it be backwards, as stupid as that is, because the art on the back of the box is always so cool for these. But anyway, that is the Dragon Stars figures. If you do want to pre-order those, you could definitely do so. Big Bad Toy Store. I'm sure you'll be able to find them in the store. Like I said, I've seen the Goku and Frieza, the Gogeta and Janemba, and the Broly and Goku pack all in the store. Funny enough, I think all at Target before, to be 100% honest with you. Many, many times. So I don't think they will be too hard to actually get your hands on. There was a slight update on Vegeta, I believe. And I think besides that, we had that one other thing, and then we're Gucci. Yeah, so by the way, this guy did go up for pre-order. That was the update, yes. So you can pre-order this guy now, obviously on any of your favorite figure sites, right? Whether that be Big Bad Toy Store or whether that be, you know, whatever store you usually use to get figures from. But I will say, as much as obviously, if you really want this guy, definitely slide in, get your pre-order in there. I will tell you, it's definitely not anything crazy if you don't pre-order this guy right away. And the only reason why I say that is because when it comes to these figures, right, the sort of over-the-counter release figures where it's like the $35 SH Figure Arts figure, you really don't have to worry about these guys not being able to be found. Most of the time, I have found myself being able to find these in stores, right? I will say, after they're out for a while, sometimes they do become a little bit hard to find. I've, you know, found them again, like later on, sometimes randomly at some different stores. But definitely, though, I would say if you are going to, you know, try and get them and you're not going to bother pre-ordering, I would say just make sure around the time that these guys actually come out, you're actually going to your local stores and picking up a copy of them just so that they don't end up getting a little bit harder to find. Because even general releases, sometimes it does happen with it. And obviously then you have a little bit of scarcity. But yeah, very excited for this guy. Obviously, as you can see here, he does come out in November, so that is very exciting. That's the only thing about these figures, man, that's so unfortunate, right? Is like they always announce these figures so far ahead of time. It's like, man, I wish they would just come out right now. But with that being said, right, I mean, I guess they could just announce them closer to when they're actually releasing, and then that would solve the problem, kind of. But obviously, then this gives people an opportunity to pre-order. Regardless, though, besides that and the funny battle pack, for this particular one, there wasn't really anything, I believe, when it came to, unfortunately, figures, right? Obviously, they did talk about the some of the Gashapon stuff, but we already talked about that previously. So for that, right, that is actually going to do it for dbzfigures.com. Of course, shout out to them for always holding it down with the good summaries of the news. And let's go ahead and move on now. We do actually have, it looks like a lot of tweets once again, but we really don't have too much besides the very end of this video, where the main focus is going to be. So of course, shout out to the boy Baggy as always, for holding it down with the news. But we did have the release of this Ichiban Kuji, obviously the one with the Angel Goku, and by golly, I gotta say, I think they cooked. Cell looks pretty good here, I will say. I actually do like the way that this figure turned out. I think it does look pretty good. Obviously, some of the smaller prizes. And man, Goku looks amazing. I'm definitely going to have to try and get my hands on this figure somehow just to see if I can get a copy of it, because he looks really, really good. The final product turned out great. The wings especially are sculpted so perfectly. By the way, King Kai turned out a lot bigger than I expected him to be. Like, looking at him next to Goku, and especially the way the production images were, they made him seem like he was a lot smaller. So this is really cool to see that he's actually kind of big. If we go here, right, you can see all the different figures in the shelving here that they're displaying him with. And the reason why I'm showing you this image, besides just the fact of looking at the figures, is something very interesting here that you may notice. That's right. Gohan only has one arm in this particular image, and we will actually talk about that. Well, I guess we'll just talk about it right now because I already have it queued up. So this is what's really interesting. This person got a bunch of the Kuji figures and obviously unboxed them, right? Compared them to the older ones. You can see a good size comparison between Goku and King Kai right there. Man, those wings are sculpted so well. But the cool thing is, as you can see, right, Gohan's arm is actually detachable. That is awesome, because obviously I know a lot of people were really disappointed with this figure because of the fact that it's not one-arm future Gohan, right? Obviously, him having both, right? Obviously, it seems like a lot of Dragon Ball media and, you know, merch and stuff likes to do that, where, I don't know, it's always like a weird gray area with like a character who only has one arm, because it's like they don't want to show that type of thing typically, even though obviously people don't really care. I mean, especially like this, right? His arm is like literally, or where I guess his arm would be, is literally being covered by a sleeve, so it's not like you're seeing anything anyway. But right, with that being said, it's really cool that they actually made the figure being able to be detached at the arm rather than the sleeve, right? Because I know with some of these figures, the way that they attach the arms is that where the sleeve is attached to the figure, right, the arm would all be one piece, as in the arm that's, you know, on the table right there would be attached to the sleeve, and then the sleeve would attach into the actual figure, right? And so it would be one big arm piece, where it would be the sleeve and the like the, what would that be, the forearm, right? I think. Basically, the part that then attaches to the hand is all one big piece. So it's cool that they did it this way, because then you can obviously get the one-arm future Gohan look. I do wonder if they did this on purpose, almost, to maybe, like, avoid having to, I don't know, like, make him one arm specifically, or advertise in that way, because, again, we just talked about the fact that they are a little bit weird when it comes to that sort of thing, right? So maybe they did it on purpose, where they just displayed him with that, and they knew that the fans would be happier if he only had one arm, so they just made it an option, and obviously didn't like advertise like, oh, detachable arms, right? It's just like, oh, that's how the figure goes together. But coincidentally, right, that's just how future Gohan looks when he has the one arm. So I'd like to think that. I don't know if they thought that far in advance. I would hope that they did, because obviously then I'm sure they probably know that once people would find out about this, then this figure would be more popular than it already was. So maybe they did think it through. I don't know, but it is very cool to see nonetheless, and I'm glad that they decided to make that decision, because that makes this figure a lot more, like, I think, of a reason to pick this guy up. I may even get this guy. I was kind of like debating on getting him, but I actually don't have a future Gohan figure, funny enough, somehow. So this may actually just be the one to have up on the shelf, especially considering you can just have the arm as a detachable piece. Moving on, though, obviously, the couple of different stores obviously had their displays up. And by golly, this set turned out really good, right? I think that the figures just ended up looking really great throughout everything that I've seen from the Japanese side of Twitter here. It is cool to see as well the close-up of how the wings are sculpted. They look fantastic, if I do say so myself. There's the other boys. They were kind of not really included in some of the other pictures. I will say Trunks actually turned out a little bit better than I thought he was going to. I feel like we saw some pictures before and he wasn't as crazy. I still think the eyes look a little bit weird on Hercule, to be honest with you, but I do actually like how this turned out. I think that the set looks pretty good overall. Vegeta does kind of look like he has little pudgy cheeks, or like somebody like bees stung his cheeks or something like that, but I think overall the set actually looks really good. And here are the sizes for the packaging, right? As you can see, it seems like Hercule and Cell have a little bit of a bigger box, but Vegeta, Trunks, and Gohan all have some smaller boxes. Goku definitely has a bigger box, you can see in the back there behind Hercule, but I guess that makes sense because obviously he has the wings and King Kai included. But if you are trying to import then Vegeta or Gohan especially, they have very small boxes, especially even compared to Trunks, right? Like Trunks is a little bit bigger. Maybe that's to compensate for the sword. I don't really know why, to be honest with you. It doesn't really make any sense if I'm keeping it $1.50 with you. But there you go. There is the like packaging comparisons to each other. Some pretty standard Ichiban Kuji packaging, to be 100% honest with you. The Vegeta and Gohan kind of remind me of like the Gammas from the first Ichiban Kuji that they were in. The size of the box that they had. Speaking of which, here is the box for that last one, Prize Goku, and here he is next to the classic, my Grail figure. I still don't have this thing. I'm still so mad that my pre-order for this guy got canceled because now he's so expensive. If literally like the best gift I could ever received would be this figure right here. But I really, really want this guy, the Bam Presto World Figure Coliseum End of Z Goku. Fantastic figures. One of the greatest Dragon Ball figures, if not the greatest Dragon Ball figure in my opinion. He's just so cool, bro. But it's nice to see him next to this Goku here. And it is interesting to see from the perspective of scale. Obviously, that guy is a Super Master Stars piece figure. I did not realize that Goku would be that high up off the ground, right? Obviously, the stand supporting him to the point where basically, obviously, the wings give him a lot more extra height. But he's basically around the size of a Master Stars, or a Super Master Stars piece figure, rather, excuse me. So that is pretty cool, if I do say so myself. Also, I just wanted to show you this one because it's a little bit of a shot of the wings, so you can see a little bit of how they are sculpted. And they do look fantastic. I like these slight blue tones you can see that are kind of painted in there, too, to give a little bit more of a dynamic look. That is really, really cool. By the way, US folks, this is the closest to the Ichiban show listing for the LO Angel Goku on Bandai's official website, but I don't think it was ever available for pre-order, so no idea what's going on. But the SKU still exists and everything to bookmark and check every day, I guess. Yeah, so if you look on this website, right, this is the Bandai Namco official website. And obviously what this means, right, the SKU number or the SKU number basically means that like the product is registered in the system. So it's like an actual product that exists. But interestingly enough, right, it's on the Bandai Namco website. It just says out of stock, but it's never actually been available for pre-order. And obviously there isn't even a like actual image, but you can see, of course, the text says Son Goku and Kaio dueling to the future, right? Because that's the name of Ichiban Kuji. So I don't know. It's weird that this guy hasn't gone up for sale as an Ichiban show figure, right, on any of the other websites, but they have him listed here on Bandai's website. I don't know. Maybe they're going to do something special with him. We will have to see, but that is quite interesting. By the way, this is, I will say, very, very fitting. I just wanted to include this in the video. The April Ichiban Kuji releases one day after Toriyama's birthday. That is crazy. I have no words about that. I just wanted to make sure that this was included in the video. That's crazy. Anyhow, special production image for Trunks. I don't remember if we had this in here last time, but Baggy tweeted this out later, so I was thinking that maybe it wasn't. But just in case, there it is. By the way, I don't remember if we actually got to see the actual pictures of the high-grade figures, or if these are just different pictures from the ones that we saw in the last video. Obviously, we did see the production images, but here you go, just in case. And I gotta say, man, these guys all look fantastic. I think these are all sculpted really, really well. Obviously, again, even though these are minifigures, man, they cooked so hard with the detail on this. This is the type of thing that, like, whenever I see something like this, it just lets me know that Bandai can do better, right? Because they make good stuff. It's just that they make stupid anti-consumer decisions all the time. I don't know, man. It's a very interesting, you know, post-Bandai Spirits world that we live in. Regardless, though, there are those guys. And interestingly enough, on the official description for high grade, it talks about to look out for the gi textures and how the battle damage gi is also reproduced well. That is really interesting that they're like specifically talking about that. But hey, I mean, it shows again, right? Looking at these, right? You can tell that the detail is pretty immaculate despite these being small figures. So hopefully they do more of this line because I would love to see some more stuff with it. By the way, for those of you in Australia, it apparently is actually going to be coming over to you guys, that a Australian distributor is going to be getting these, so that will be pretty cool. You guys will be able to pick them up. The BOS MUI Goku obviously did release in Japan. Man, that poster is fire. But yeah, here are some close-ups of the boy. I do think he looks really, really good. I think that this figure turned out pretty good. I will say one interesting thing about this guy is that I swear I have seen some copies of him that look a little bit better than others. I think this copy looks pretty good, to be honest. The eyes are really big, by the way. I swear his eyes are not that big in the anime. Like, they almost look like cartoonishly big, but I mean, hey, maybe it's just to emphasize the, you know, the whole like motif of the MUI eyes. But this figure does look really good, and I will say I feel like this image does him a lot of justice pretty well. But I have seen like some images. I think it's coming up here. Is it this one? Yeah, I feel like the lighting, obviously this is from Omacha Headchala. I feel like the lighting on this one. Maybe that's just what the problem is with this particular, like, photo of him. But I swear he just doesn't look as good. I don't know what it is. But I swear that the figure just doesn't look as nice. By the way, while we're looking at this, before we have that page load, this is really interesting. It seems that Bandai is stepping up their game. I suppose this is indeed what competition, you know, does to a company. Gee, you know, the bare minimum of, you know, putting your figures in plastic clamshells rather than just having them rattle around in the cardboard, you know. Ooh, and especially if they're in a claw machine and people are going to be dropping the box everywhere. Like, bro, come on. Regardless, though, it's still cool to see, because obviously they really only typically did this for, like, bigger figures before. Because obviously, you know, when it comes down to it, right, I suppose it's not like it's completely necessary, but it's still like, dog, it should just kind of be the thing, right? It should just kind of be the standard, because obviously it's just the best way to package the figure. Regardless, though, when it comes to Goku, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just the lighting is really dependent on it here, and it just kind of maybe varies a little bit figure to figure, but definitely, like, I swear he just doesn't look as good here. Like, his skin tone looks a little bit more yellow, almost. The hair does look really good, though. This is a perfect comparison, right? Like, right here, right? Let's go back to that image, because this is, like, almost the same picture, right? I swear he looks so much better here. Like, the line work and everything is just more clean, and, like, he looks like he has a little bit more, like, brown lines, almost, that are, like, kind of like paint mishaps or something, rather than here where it just looks like a lot more of a clean paint job. But I honestly think that that's just the lighting, right, that is kind of making him look like this, because I don't know, it's hard to imagine that the same figure would look exactly like this. Ooh, that is a good picture for scale, though. This is a old, oh my gosh, what is this line called? Shojin Giga? No, this is not this is a Ratsuden figure. That's right. I could not remember what this Jiren was from. This is like the only Jiren prize figure that exists. And that is pretty cool, actually, that Goku does scale pretty well with him. That's definitely a good picture. I might have to get him just to scale with that Jiren. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I think overall he turned out pretty good. I don't think that this guy is like super high on my priority list or anything, only because I have so many MUI Goku figures as it stands. But by golly, if I don't want him at some point in the future, right? Absolutely, right? Definitely got to get this guy at some point, because he did turn out very, very well. Speaking of which, besides obviously having him be with Jiren there, here's a couple other figures for a little bit of scale. You can tell that he is a little bit smaller, but I think for that Jiren figure, he is like perfect, to be honest with you. But yeah, here he is next to a couple of other different anime figures, just for a little bit of scale. He is definitely a little bit on the smaller side for sure. By the way, this was just kind of interesting for the BOS UI Goku and the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. They only charge 900 yen for the UI Goku. Minimum case orders are 40 and 1,000 for the Super Saiyan 3, and then reverted back to 900 for Trunks. Super Saiyan 3 Goku also has the official biggest height, so hopefully that means the Super Saiyan 3 Goku will scale a little bit better and be a little bit bigger than Goku, because obviously they are from the same line, right, now that we know their scale. Also, this was just something to throw in here. Vegeta is being made in China, right? The SH Figure Arts one. Okay, so here is Jace, right? This is the final product. I don't know why this image is so gosh darn bright, because it feels like they're throwing a spotlight on my boy, to be 100% honest with you. But I will say, obviously, this is the Jace that is a part of that Ginyu Force set. I don't think he looks terrible, but I think his face looks like weirdly elongated. I don't really know how to describe it, but I feel like he looks a little bit off, to be honest. This could definitely be the case of it's just this one figure, because obviously, you know, a lot of the time when it comes to specific figures in QC, sometimes you run into this where one figure just doesn't look the best out of the batch. I think, like, from this angle, it doesn't look too bad, but I swear his face or his head is, like, long or something like that here. But definitely let me know what you think in the comments, because I'd be curious to hear what you have to think. We have the History Box Majin Vegeta, obviously, this guy finally releasing. Again, why are these images so bright? It's so funny, like, obviously you need to take bright images when it comes to figures for them to be able to have all the details be on display, but sometimes I feel like too bright is an option. Like here, it's kind of hard to look at this image if I'm being honest with you. The only thing that I really have to like complain about here is that I know his shirt does kind of cut like this in the anime, but I think it's more like tucked in, right? It's not like a full one piece. It is like a shirt and pants. But this kind of just looks like top of the figure got smashed onto the bottom of the figure, and they didn't line it up properly on that, to be honest with you, rather than it feeling like, you know, actual shirt and pants. But other than that, the figure doesn't look too bad. Again, it's always surprising seeing Fruit Punch on a modern Dragon Ball figure, because obviously, you know, they really don't like to do that. But it is cool to see, right? Obviously being on Majin Vegeta's face. It's interesting that it's not on his arms as well. I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity, but I'm sure you could probably custom paint that and have that look real good. By the way, very interestingly enough, speaking of Vegeta, he hit 624 orders. History box will probably stay then. Ultimate Gohan being low is now a one-off, because most of these other history box figures have done pretty well. Darn you, popularity of Majin Vegeta. Hoping for low orders. Yeah, honestly, like, the reason why, obviously, is because this line is, like, it's not terrible, but it's just, I feel like there's so many better things that they could be doing and putting their resources into, to be 100% honest with you, rather than this line. I don't think that, you know, it's a bad figure line. I mean, I think that if the figure scale was a little bit higher, it would definitely be something that I would enjoy a little bit more. And I really like the concept of it, but I feel like it's just the execution a lot of the time is just not there for me personally anyway. So by the way, the Dragon Ball item Gashapon in Europe, as you can see, is €5. It seems like, I think that means what that is to play. I'm not too familiar with Euro, so please tell me in the comments what this technically means in terms of how that exchanges to the currency. But, funny enough, this particular gacha, that's right, your boy actually found it himself at a local place near me that has a bunch of Gashapon machines. They actually had this that you could play, and it was only 3 tokens. I forget the exact price of the tokens, but the machines are usually either 3 tokens or 5 tokens. But it was really cool to actually see this, right, in person, because obviously I always see this stuff online, but then when you find it out in the wild, it always feels a little bit special, right? So very, very cool actually seeing this in person. I did not spin it because, to be honest with you, like, this particular set is not like my favorite of, you know, the different item sets we've gotten. Like, I don't think that, you know, there's definitely a couple of other ones that if I were to find them, I probably would play, just because obviously, you know, the items aren't necessarily my favorite. Like, out of all of these, probably the only thing that I would be, like, really hyped about would maybe be, like, the Saiyan pod, and like maybe Chi-Chi's hat, I guess, right? Like, the rice cooker is cool, but it is just like a rice cooker with a label on it. I don't know, I guess the Capsule Corp thing is cool, but I have a couple of like little Capsule Corp merch thingies already. And Gohan's hat is just kind of Gohan's hat in terms of like that. It feels a little bit weird having it there without him attached to it, I guess. But Chi-Chi's helmet is a little bit of like a more full thing. I don't know, maybe I'm just talking out my butt here, but regardless though, it was still really cool seeing this actually, you know, in person, because obviously, you know, when it comes down to it, this is just always something really awesome to find, because obviously, you know, it's weird seeing stuff that comes straight out of Japan, obviously, in your own country. Oh, and also the UK is getting Gashapons. So funny, Baggy was saying, like, yeah, I don't even know what's going on in the UK, bro. Apparently only 8 locations, but definitely better than nothing, for sure, right? Obviously, it's always nice when this stuff comes over at all. Alright, so what to look forward to this week, and then we will talk about the main prize, because those are the actual prize figures. This, right, is the main thing, because we will talk about this in about 5 seconds. But the reason why I put my tweet here, or put this tweet here, is the fact that when it comes to the Dragon history, obviously Ichiban Kuji, we still don't know about the Ichiban show for this, if they are going to bring this over to the States, and if they are going to be decent prices if we actually do get an Ichiban show. So we are definitely going to be keeping eyes out to see for this, because I know that basically Baggy has been like, it's going to happen today, it's going to happen today, it's going to happen today, and then we haven't gotten the prices for any of these. So hopefully we do. But funny enough, the thing that would have been next in this tweet, which was the schedule for Dragon Ball, we actually did get the figure reveals. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the world's first proper Super 17 figure. This is awesome. I am really excited to get the multi-angles for this figure, because at the time of this recording, we do not have them. Funny enough, by the time this video goes up, to be honest with you, it may actually like be up. Just go check Baggy's Twitter just in case. But with that being said, obviously for now, we do have this picture, and by golly, I am really, really excited about this. I know it seems kind of funny to be excited about Super 17 maybe, but I'm telling you right now, we have not had a proper Super 17 figure literally ever. The only Super 17 figures that we have had, to my knowledge anyway, let me actually see if I can look this up real quick while we're talking about this. The only Super 17 figures, to my knowledge, have basically been minifigures as far as I am aware. The boy has never actually had a proper like prize figure or an Ichiban Kuji figure. Yes, if we look at my figure collection here, you can see, right, these are some old figures here, right, obviously from basically when GT was airing, right. You can tell that these are really old action figures by just the way that they look. Obviously, again, like basically from the 90s when GT was popping. You have this older mini Super 17 figure. You have this one, which I guess was technically, right, like the only quote-unquote modern Super 17 figure up until this point, which was this WCF one. Obviously, that's a minifigure, though, and now they actually have the boy listed on here. Yeah, crazy, to be honest with you, that we're actually getting a Super 17 figure. There are so many characters from Dragon Ball, as crazy as it sounds, and as how many Dragon Ball figures there are that are so underrepresented, and Super 17 is absolutely one of them. By the way, this is a matchmaker's figure, and you can see that the person down here posted the GIF of what this scene is actually from. And of course, with that being said, you have a GT Goku to pair with him. I really, really like this figure. I will say his neck does look a little bit weird, but I think that's just because of the fact that his head is outstretched, right? Especially looking at the actual GIF, you can see that, of course, it's because of the angle, right? You're not used to seeing it from this front-facing angle. I was going to say, funny enough, it is a little bit weird that they both have them kind of like almost punching with the same fist and to the, I guess, left. But if you look at the image, technically, or I guess the GIF, right, you are seeing Super 17's back and not his chest, whereas with Goku, you are seeing the chest. And honestly, I might display this the other way so you can get a better look at Super 17 that you can at Goku. But either way, though, it's nice to see that obviously the sculpt on this looks fantastic. I love the way that the belt, excuse me, I'm losing my mind here at this thing. The belt looks, right? You can even see the rip in the pants on the side there too. So very cool. And obviously it makes sense that if they were going to do a matchmaker's figure for Super 17, they're going to take it for this scene, because I mean, like, it just kind of makes sense, right? As well, we also have the, I'm going to butcher the name, the Kaizen Ben. I'm sorry, bro. Someone in the comments tell me how to say it. Android 18. This is also a very good looking figure, to be 100% honest with you. And obviously last time we talked about the Android 17, right? The Kaizenban, I think that's how you pronounce it actually. We obviously got, right, it's based off of this art right here. We got this 17 figure last time, and they now obviously are giving us this Android 18 figure, which I will say, like, I kind of see what Baggy means, right? That it's not like one-to-one, because obviously she's like walking in the actual figure rather than like just kind of standing there looking off to the side. But I think besides the like placement of the feet, and obviously 18 looks a little bit more pleased in this image, right? She looks like she's smiling a little bit more than the angry look in the actual art, right? Whereas 17 is being kind of like the cheeky one here. It's basically the same thing, especially if you twisted this a little bit, right? And obviously she's then like properly looking at 17. I think it's close enough, bro. It's definitely, I guess, not 1-to-1, but regardless, the really cool thing about this, to be honest, is that obviously Android 16 is now getting another figure, assumingly so, because it would be weird for them to not, like, complete this trio of figures. So I hope that that then means that Android 16 will obviously follow this pattern and be a similar figure to, you know, these in terms of referencing this original piece of art. And also, Android 16 as well, speaking of which, let's pull him up as well. Android 16, I think... There we go. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he also doesn't really have a ton of figures, to be honest with you. It kind of looks like a lot, but these are all obviously really, really old, right? The ones down here. And basically the most, like, you know, I would say maybe modern figure is the S Cultures one. That's like the oldest modern one. And then obviously have a couple of, you know, SH Figuarts. You have some Funko Pops, some minifigures. I guess if you count... Oh, yeah, that one, right. I forgot he had an Ichiban Kuji figure. But in terms of prize figures themselves, he actually did have the GX Material one. And then, of course, the high-grade one. But the GX Material one is technically the only actual prize figure that the boy has ever had besides the S-Cultures one. I guess maybe this is more so, like, actually modern, right? Either way, though, more Android 16, please. Very, very welcomed for sure, right? And I like that they're taking from this piece of art. I do think it is pretty cool. It will be interesting as well to see if they do give us more androids, right? I would definitely love to get the Android 13 movie gang. I think that that would honestly be pretty cool if I do say so myself. By the way, obviously looking at this calendar, right, the only thing that we have basically not seen at this point is the GX Materia Vegito and Majin Buu, right? We wait for the September overseas catalog to be sent out for height, multi-angles, and blank production images. About 30 to 40 different sources. As soon as they're sent out, we should get them. It will be interesting to see if the GX Materia is different or not only a Japanese re-release, right? Because obviously this is the GX Materia, Super Vegito, and Majin Buu, right? So it'll be interesting to see if they give these guys like a different color version, right? Because sometimes they do that with, you know, re-releases of figures, or if it is quite literally just a solid re-release. I would not be surprised if it was, because I know both of these figures are extremely popular. Super Vegito, I mean, I've even bought him already twice myself because I gave him as a gift to my friend who loves Vegito. Shout out to the boy. And obviously I have one on my shelf. I'm also going to get Kid Buu at some point. And I know that, you know, these guys have just been flying off the shelves because obviously there are not a lot of Majin Buu figures, and Vegito's Vegito doing the Vegito sword. So hopefully, though, it is a little bit more of something unique, because obviously then it would be cool that you could have both versions and it still be something different. But obviously a solid re-release is definitely not a bad thing too, so more people would be able to get their hands on the figures. This, by the way, is the very, very good news for obviously the Dragon History Kuji. Any August Dragon Ball Ichiban show listings are expected this week, right? So hopefully we get that. That was another thing about waiting for this video, is that I was kind of hoping that maybe we would get this information as well, to be honest with you. But unfortunately we still don't at the time of this recording. We do have the ratios for these though, which is pretty cool. As you can see, 3 for prize A, 2 for prize B, 3 for prize C, and obviously this is the last one, Ichiban Kuji, right? So when it comes down to it, right, I think that's pretty decent in terms of the numbers that'll be available at every store, and obviously then the amount that we as the consumer can get ourselves. This is very unfortunate, though, I will say, for those of you who are in Europe. Obviously the US, we still have to wait and see if this is actually going to be the case, right? Because obviously when it comes down to it, a lot of the time the US will get Ichiban shows and Europe won't for some reason. I don't know why that happens sometimes, but it just does. But unfortunately that means that if you are in Europe, that means that you are going to have to basically import these guys if you do want to get your hands on them. But with that being said, that is going to do it for today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're excited, because I know I am excited about the Super 17 figure, because we have literally never had one before. This is awesome. I am definitely going to be grabbing this guy. I hope what this also means is that there'll maybe be more GT representation, right? Because obviously it would be super cool to get, like, you know, another Omega or the other Shadow Dragons even, right? Obviously we don't have that many Omega figures, but even having the Shadow Dragons would be awesome, right? Obviously getting Rildo would be cool, even Lud, right? A bunch of those GT villains I think would be super, super cool. Obviously Baby, I know Baby has basically like gotten the most merch out of anybody, I swear, but you know, even Baby, Super Baby 2, right, would be awesome. Hopefully this means they do SH figure arts of these. Obviously we have some GT characters, but no villains yet, right? Obviously more prize figures. Maybe even a GT Kuji. That would be really cool, honestly. I'm definitely down for that. So I hope that Super 17 ushers in some more stuff, because obviously, like, even I know, you know, sometimes GT is kind of criticized, but like I think the character designs and the concepts are still really cool. And then it's just Dragon Ball at the end of the day, bro. It's just cool. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what was your favorite figure that we took a look at today, and I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. I knew I was forgetting something. I ended the video with the feeling that I had forgotten something, and I did, because this was also announced when it came down to very, very close to actually the date that this video is going to be going up. So I have to include this in this figure news video. We have the packaging and a look at the Super Saiyan 1 Gohan that is going to be coming with the cloth cape. We talked about him in a very, very previous video, a fat minute ago, and people are very, very excited for this guy, right? Not to mention, obviously, the packaging on this image does look pretty cool, if I do say so myself. He is coming out on April 20th. In Japan. Obviously here stateside we will have to wait just a little bit longer to be able to get our hands on this guy, but as you can see, there is a little video of him here, which is pretty cool, obviously displaying the packaging and stuff like that. It is cool that they do have that windswept hair piece. I know that obviously it is something that is in the actual anime, but it's nice to see it being included in more and more official figures. And it is interesting to see them actually doing videos like this now, where they're actually kind of like basically doing their own little mini unboxing video where they show off, you know, like the figure's articulation and, you know, different features and stuff like that. So that is pretty cool, because obviously this is basically like something that I would do essentially in my own unboxing video. And there's the cape, right? Obviously it is articulated with the bendy wire inside. It does look really, really small, but obviously that is because Gohan is a smaller character and a smaller figure, right? So I guess the unfortunate thing about that is that you probably won't be able to use it on a little bit of your bigger Gohan figures, but obviously it fits him because he's a little bit of a smaller dude. But yeah, very, very cool. Obviously the 20th, and then after that we can expect to see some people in Japan actually getting their hands on the figure and, you know, then showing us the figure. So that is pretty cool. As well, I didn't bring this up originally, but I figured that I did, since I'm already making an amend on this video anyway. I might as well. I wasn't going to talk about any third-party news this week because there really isn't a lot. However, there is two big things to talk about. There's kind of a little bit of extra things, but there's something that I didn't get to include in the last video that I really wanted to throw in here for a third party. So first of all, before we get on to the big thing, I don't know, man. I think Demoniacal Fit is just being a little goofy at this point, bro. I gotta be honest with you, because obviously we know the shenanigans that have been going on with them. I've made a couple of videos about DF recently, but they posted that apparently they're working on a Raleigh, which looks like a Smash Bros render. I swear, like, for some reason this to me looks like if Raleigh was in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Like, that art style just screams that to me. I don't know why. As well, I think this guy is from Dragon Quest. I'm pretty sure, right? And this guy is from, I don't know the name of the show. It's not Detective Conan or Lupin the Third. I don't know. I don't know what this guy is from. You can let me know in the comment section. I swear I've seen him before, though. Not to mention he has that funny red hand. Like, I swear I've seen it. I don't know if this is like, you know, that they're trying to get into doing this for other anime or something like that. Or if they are just doing a little bit of trolling, genuinely. Like, I don't know. I mean, if they really did make it a Raleigh, I would buy it in a heartbeat because I love a Raleigh. But, like, you know, I don't know. It just seems a little bit weird for them to post these things because obviously they have so many projects that are already in development. And not to mention, I know we talked about before, the whole Future Gohan thing. And obviously, you know, a lot of the comments are even mentioning Future Gohan. So, I don't know. Just figured I'd throw it in the video. As I always like to say, or, well, as I always talk about when it comes to these renders, rather, from Demoniacal Fit, you can never basically confirm that they're actually going to be making these because there are so many renders that they've done in the past where it's just never amounted to anything. My beloved that will never exist. Tear down my face. But like they have done a lot of these, right, where they just make a render, right? Even this UI Goku, I would have loved for this to actually be released, you know, and then they just never make it. So this guy too, perfect example. Would love this figure, but you know, alas and alack, as well their Super Saiyan 5 Goku figure. So either way though, you know, when it comes down to it, right, don't expect these figures to actually be made. It would be really cool if they were. But it's, like, even lucky the fact that we got Super Saiyan 3 Goku as a render, and then they're clearly actually working on it because they have the dragon as, like, a 3D model. So, we'll see what happens. Regardless, though, we're on the Boy Bursts page now. He is always somebody that I go to for third-party figure stuff. And we did talk about the Gotenks head sculpts last week, right, where we talked about the different sculpts that this guy would have. This is so funny, by the way. For this little Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks head kit that basically you would use on the already existing Gotenks figure. But what we didn't see last time is basically everything from there up. And the main thing that I want to show you is these two things, to be honest with you. But let's take a look at everything. So apparently this company called HMYR is coming out with a Gohan Beast head sculpt. Up until today, we just had the first image to tease, but now we're getting a sense of how detailed the faces will be. If you've seen their other work, the Vegeta and Gogeta heads, you'll see what kind of quality they strive for. Pretty neat stuff. Between the official, DL Customs, and various other creators, how y'all feeling about this? Yeah, it looks pretty good from the render. I definitely like the way that that looks. It is very interesting to see too. This is what it actually looks like with the hair attached. Listing mentions that he will have one head, 4 expressions, 2 bangs, and 1 hand, which is really interesting. It does kind of look like the hair is a little bit different. Maybe it's like just looks longer because it's from the side. But it definitely looks a lot more like spiky. I wish if it was like this, that this kind of like sketch is designed, because this looks almost like a little bit too angular to me, to be honest with you. But the interesting thing, and I know there's a lot of interesting things here, but apparently this is an actual 3D sculpt of what the head will actually look like, obviously with that faceplate, right? It looks pretty good. I definitely think that this is something that people will be interested in. I still think that the official Gohan Beast hair for SH Figuarts wise probably still looks the best in my opinion. But I do like how this looks. I think I want to see it painted before I pass final judgment. I do think it almost looks a little bit too angular, like I was saying, and it's almost like the shapes aren't soft enough for my taste. But I still think that it looks really good, right? And obviously it's not painted yet, so of course it's going to be that color. Regardless, moving away from Gohan, interestingly enough, the same company is doing a Super Saiyan Blue Vegito head sculpt that looks like, right, it will be usable on Kong figures, because this is the Kong Xeno Super Saiyan 3 Vegito body. So that is pretty interesting, that it looks like it will be for this, right? This is one very different from the prior version shown in the last post that he made. I'm assuming more of a manga look is what this is based on. Not 100% how these are being sold, that's distributed. The first pre-order batch, the base, the Super Saiyan and SSB set have been closed from what I can understand. But it looks like there's going to be another pre-order batch, but I'm confused as to this. Is this meant, excuse me, to be a new version, or it's going to be something you can get with the prior heads they've shown off as well? Yeah, first batch of pre-orders are expected to ship in May. I believe we saw that. I'm not exactly sure where that particular image is of that Vegito. I think it was this one. Yeah, definitely a little bit interesting, right? The face sculpts are very funny. Like, looking at this, it looks a lot more like anime-esque and like a little bit more puffy hair, I guess. Whereas this one kind of looks a little bit more, again, more angular and kind of like shorter almost. So very interesting, right? If it actually is something different. But both do look pretty cool. By the way, obviously this guy already, you know, released a little while ago. But man, my boy Tonson cooked on that. And speaking of Tonson, this is the image that I really, really wanted to show you. Not sure how this will be advertised. A kit perhaps to enhance A and B variants he's already been developing, or he'll do a whole other figure with its own unique accessories for another A and B variant for this movie version. In any case, for sure, Tonson will divulge ideas soon. Yeah, this is really, really cool. Obviously, we took a look at in a previous video the Tonson Art Toys Trunks, right, which will be the purple-haired one, I believe, and then this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the purple hair, and then the, man, those faces look so good, right? And then the, like, it's still purple, but it's more like the grayer tones, right? I forget what this particular thing is called. The name of this color is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it right now. Regardless, though, obviously, this is not exactly the BoJack movie Trunks. This is like when Trunks returns to the future, and it's clear that obviously this one is the BoJack movie Trunks. So it will be interesting to see how Tonson handles this, right? Because obviously, up until now, the only full figure that he's you know, had up for pre-order hasn't even released yet is the Kid Buu, right? Obviously being the A and B variant of that. So we'll see what happens. I am really excited for this if this actually does end up looking this good on the final product, because by golly, does this figure look amazing. Obviously, this is basically just the sculpt, and my boy doesn't even have feet yet, nor does he have hands, actually, now that I'm looking at this. And obviously, the handle on the sword is not even there. But man, this looks really, really cool. The head sculpt looks amazing, and the top part, which is arguably the most important, because obviously Tonson has very clearly already nailed the Trunks pants, looks amazing. Look at that, bro. I love BoJack movie Trunks. I love the BoJack movie itself, so this is very exciting to see. It'll be interesting how this guy actually ends up releasing. We have some more pictures here, by the way, of Trunks, right? And interestingly, a Super Saiyan 3 Trunks. This is not the Tonson Art Toys Trunks, because I'm sure you're looking at this and going, wait a minute. This Trunks looks a little bit different from this one that we see from Tonson. And you would be right. For some reason, this guy has popped up, right? A 3.0 Trunks. Now that I thought that was pretty intriguing, reminded me the Beast Eaters from the Kong Studios did communicate to us they're going to make Super Saiyan 3 Trunks. Now I thought they dropped it in favor of other projects, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So we don't know if it is exactly Kong, but it definitely could be. This definitely looks like how Kong likes to display their figures. It's very, very interesting looking at this, especially with the windswept hair pieces, the Super Saiyan hair piece, right? Obviously the jacket that you can add in there, and of course the Super Saiyan 3 hair. But what's really interesting is that, as you can see, it seems that this figure actually already exists, and it is actually not from Kong, which is really, really interesting. Burst notes here that obviously we got another look at the mysterious third-party Trunks. As I understand, it is a small group in China that initially used some of Kong's work to create the Super Saiyan 3 Trunks render, but then decided to upgrade and change the legs to be more like the official figure. This has been in development since around last November, and the process has been slow. It sounds like the orders are already taken for this product, though I'm not certain if it's entirely cut off and no one will be able to secure any currently. Could be a China-only type of figure. Keep that in mind. Lastly, the group's name seems to be SSS with a lowercase s, an uppercase s, and then a lowercase s, and there's not any known public socials to check currently. That's what I've been shared so far. If anyone has more details and wishes to share, please do so in the comments. Yeah, it's really interesting because obviously, like, when it comes down to it, this is the type of thing where, you know, when it comes to these third-party figures that are basically like exclusive to China, it is just a mixed bag of information if we are even ever going to be able to obtain something like this, or just in general, right? Like how something like this is handled, or if it's even supposed to be more of like a well-known thing, right? It's very curious. That's kind of why I like third-party stuff sometimes, because it's interesting to see obviously how it compares from official. By the way, according to a post on the 5K Toys Facebook group, the third-party Trunks will be coming soon this August and will retail for about 850 Hong Kong currency. That's really interesting. What is the conversion rate on that? I'm really curious. I'm going to look that up in another tab. No confirmation, though. We'll see if this will appear on orders on AliExpress, but it doesn't hurt to reach out to shops you utilize to see if they are interested in obtaining some stock. Yeah, I know that there is some places that where you can actually like talk to them and then they will like order actual stock for you, which is really interesting. I don't exactly know how that works because I'm not really familiar with those sites, but it is pretty cool that that is still an option to you. Hong Kong dollar to USD. Regardless, though, if it is going to be coming in August, right, that is pretty cool. Hopefully we'll get to see maybe some more like actual images of it. By the way, this isn't like from the 5K Toys page that is being posted on. It's just a Facebook group in obviously like the A5K Toys Facebook group, basically. I can't find that currency rate for some reason. Google's not displaying it correctly, so comment section, please tell me what that will end up being, because I think it's really interesting. This figure does look cool, I will say. The thing that is really intriguing about him, though, is like the hair looks very like white almost, and it's interesting to see here, like this shot looks like he has gloves, but then this one looks like he doesn't have gloves. So I don't know if this is an actual like just prototype at the moment, and there'll still be a little bit more. Yeah, even this person here, why does he have gloves on? Or is this specifically from something, right? Or did they just make it up? Yeah. Very, very interesting. It is a cool little bit of a custom, right, for sure. Though it is a little bit of a shame that like it's not like the Dragon Ball Heroes, obviously Super Saiyan 3 Trunks, because he does appear in there. But regardless, though, it was just something I wanted to show off because I thought that it looked pretty cool. And that is basically it. This is just a custom Kaioken Goku using the Super Saiyan Goku body. It does look pretty cool, though, I will admit. But that is actually going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was like a big additional part to the video, but I wanted to include that little bit about SH Figuarts Gohan, and I forgot that I didn't actually show this off in the last video, so I really wanted to make sure that this was included. Man, if they really do, right, if Tonson, rather, I suppose, really does, you know, release this Trunks, this Bojack Trunks specifically, I'm going to be a happy man because I love the Bojack design for Trunks. It's so cool, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.